All right, well, welcome everyone to Boulder County Senior Law Day Week 2. We are really excited about our seminar this week. We're starting off strong. Before we get into the substance of it, I do have a few announcements. So this year, obviously, things are a little different. We are in a virtual format. Just so you all know, today's webinar is being recorded and a video will be posted later on the Boulder County Senior Law Day website. We're really excited that this virtual format allows us to do that so that if there's something you half remember but don't remember fully, you can look back later and refresh your memory. So we're really excited about that. We have muted all participants, so please remain on mute unless our speakers invite you to unmute yourself. If you do have questions during the presentation, you can ask those. We have at the top of the screen a Q&A function, so you can click on that and type your question in. And the speakers may be waiting till the end to answer those questions, but you can ask them as they occur to you, and then they'll stay there for the speakers, which is, again, another fun benefit of this virtual format. We do have upcoming webinars still all the way through October 1st. Our next one is this Thursday from noon to 1 on guardianships and conservatorships, presented by attorney Brandon Fields. We're really lucky. He's very experienced in this area, and I think anyone who has loved ones to care for, it's going to be a really great one. We have lots more programming. Please go to our website, bouldercountyseniorlawday.org, to get the full panoply of our topics this year. The one downside of having a virtual Senior Law Day this year is that we are unable to do our usual Ask a Lawyer program. However, our platinum level sponsor, Boulder County Bar Association, has been doing for several months now a virtual free legal clinic. People who sign up for that are paired up with attorneys for brief legal consults on a variety of issues. They are happy to take our overflow from this event. You can call their phone number, 303-440-4758, or you can apply directly on their website, www.boulder-bar.org. It's a really great service, and we are really proud that our community responded so quickly to fill these gaps. Almost done. Senior Law Day Handbooks. For those of you who have attended our in-person event, we have a big pile of handbooks usually to pass out at the end of it. This year you have two options. The easiest option, the one we're trying to encourage people to access, is the website seniorlawhandbook.org. It's a really great resource, and you can get the electronic version for free and access it as many times as you want. We will have a few copies available in the non-digital format, the old paper version. For that, please contact Erica Corson at Boulder County Area Agency on Aging, 303-441-1170, and we will make sure you get a copy. And finally, we want to say thank you to all of our sponsors, Boulder County Bar Association, Pearl Fiduciary, Hofgarden Associates, Fraser Meadows are our platinum sponsors. Our gold sponsor is Jorgensen, Brownell, and Pepin. And our silver assisted living locators, Book Financial, Private Wealth, Kingsbury, Johnson & Love, LLC, and Longmont Senior Services are our bronze sponsors. And our in-kind sponsor is Mason Design. He is fantastic and does a great job on all of our programming. So I'm going to stop my screen share here. And now that we got that business taken care of, I am so excited to introduce our speakers to talk about access to the courts. We are so lucky today to have not one, but two of our really wonderful and experienced court clerks. Our first speaker, Marizela Cano, has been a resident of Colorado for over 40 years. She began her career with the 20th Judicial District 15 years ago as a Court Judicial Assistant. In 2007, she became County Court Specialist, and soon after that became a supervisor in the clerk's office over the criminal department. On March 1st, 2017, she became Clerk of the Court, having worked with Mari for a couple of years now and various committees. I can just attest that she has such a strong work ethic and strives to really be an exemplary member of our court personnel, and we're so lucky to have her. Our other panelist today is Danielle Riccio. She is coming up on her 12th anniversary with the Boulder courts. Definitely an impressive amount of service. For the last 9 years, she has been the Civil Supervisor overseeing District Court, County Civil Court, Domestic Relations, Probate, Mental Health, and Appeals. And I think it's fair to say she's a woman who can do it all. So we are very grateful to have both of them, and I will leave you in their capable hands and watch from the background, learning with all of you.
Thank you, Brett. I am going to, hi everyone, my name is Marizela Cano. I'm going to be sharing my screen here in 2 seconds, so just bear with me. And hopefully everybody can see the presentation.
You're not quite sharing at the moment.
No. Let me go back. Let's see.
There you go.
Oh, perfect. And I'm trying to get it. Is that what you're seeing? Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry about that. New technology and getting used to these Zoom presentations and meetings. Just wanted to briefly go over some stuff on kind of what to expect when you are arriving or doing any business here at the 20th Judicial District. Our information I put up for you in case you have any questions. You can certainly reach out to any of us here in the courts for any questions or procedural questions that you might have, or any concerns on how we are handling matters currently in the 20th Judicial District.
Omari, real quick, it's Kyle. I'm sorry. You may want to start your slideshow just so we see the full screen of the slides.
Okay, let's
Sorry.
see.
Technology.
No, I'm glad you're telling me, because I can't see what you're seeing.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, so if you just go over to slideshow at the top middle. Oops, a little more to the left.
Slideshow, let's see.
Yeah, so it says File, Home, Insert. So if you go over kind of to the middle left, if that makes sense, click on Slideshow. So yep, a few more over to the right from there.
Oh, there we go.
And then just from beginning, you should be fine.
There we go.
And then just click from beginning at the top left.
Did it work?
Not yet. Maybe try from current slide. Just click it again, maybe, or twice.
I'm clicking it twice, not doing anything.
Well, it is readable, so I don't want to interrupt too much. So, and I guess if you make them available for the attendees, it should be okay. So
let's see. Let me try one more thing.
okay.
No, doesn't want to come up.
And a very tech savvy person in our comments mentioned that you may have it on a different shared screen.
Got it. So let me, I don't know what I clicked, but.
Gotcha. Yeah. So if you go back to share screen, you can choose a different window, and that window should be the one where it's full screen.
And thank you to everyone. This is COVID times for us all.
That's right.
We're all learning. I've learned more about technology in the past 7 months than I ever thought I would.
Same.
So let's see. Is that working?
We are seeing a white box.
Yeah, just for our white box.
Yeah.
So let's. Well,
And Mari, if you'd like, if you could send it to Brett or I, and we could probably share it that way.
Yeah.
That might be easier.
perfect. Why don't I do that?
Okay.
And
Again, thank you everyone for your patience. We'll get going again in just a minute.
I sent it to both of you. Hopefully one of you receives it.
I will refresh.
Kyle, it came in on mine. I'll go ahead and share as soon as the file opens.
Oh, great. Okay. And Mari, if you just want to get started with the basics, and then we'll get the slides up as soon as we can.
Sure, absolutely. So, you know, once we started to reopen the courts, we had to take some precautionary measures to ensure that, you know, everybody was going to, that was going to be visiting our courthouse, as well as stopping by for any business that, you know, they were feeling safe. So there's a couple of options. We started opening up the courthouse a little slowly. We first staggered staff for a while to ensure that there was that it was safe enough for all judicial staff to, you know, to come in. I can tell you right now that although we don't have the amount of visitors that we had in the past, we do have quite a few people that are coming in and doing regular business at the courthouse. So one of the things that people should definitely be aware of, we are fully staffed. There is access to the buildings starting at 7:30 a.m. The clerk's office does not open until 8 a.m. in the morning, and we are open from 8 to 5. Every person that is coming into the building is required to wear a mask and comply with the social distancing. If a person comes into the building and they are going through security and they forgot their mask at home or something, there are some masks available at security that will be provided to individuals as they're coming into the building. A lot of people obviously choose to go retrieve their mask from their car, and that's also acceptable, but it is one of the requirements. The other things that that you can certainly do is, if you're not comfortable coming to the Justice Center and you have just a general question, you can always call our main line, which it's it's on the slideshow right now. It's the 303-441-3750 number. We have somebody that answers the phones from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on a rotating basis. So we have one staff member each hour take a shift to answer the main line. And during the lunch hour, we also answer the Longmont Courthouse main line. So you will get assistance regardless of which location you're calling, whether it's the Longmont Courthouse or whether it's the Boulder Courthouse. But if you want to speak to somebody that day, it's probably best to do that. The other thing I wanted to kind of talk about is our resource center, because a lot of people were used to coming in and we had walk-ins with Tanya. We aren't able to do that right now because of the restrictions due to COVID. However, people can still call for appointments, and the way that Tanya is handling the appointments is by WebEx meetings or trainings, or assisting people on the phone with the questions that they have. The other thing that I think is really important for people to know is that if there's any type of ADA accommodations that people need, I wanted to ensure that everybody knew that our ADA coordinator is Erica Skufka, and her information should also be posted on the website, and you can also see it on the screen. ADA, I guess I should say what ADA stands for, Americans with Disabilities Act. But if any questions come up, those are probably the three main numbers that you would want to reach out to for any questions. The other thing, and if I'm going too fast through this, please let me know, and I'm happy to pause. The other thing that is very helpful for people to have is our judicial website. There's a ton of information in various topics. So I wanted to ensure that everybody had the website and kind of where to go for certain things. So as you can see at the top there, you're going to have several tabs. You're going to have the courts, probation, jury, and self-help forms. I always direct people to the self-help forms because you're going to see a list of all the forms and instructions that you will need to file a case, or information on just some of the procedures. Very helpful to visit. If you need help navigating that, you can always give us a call, and we're more than happy to walk you through how to get to where you need to be. So, we think of remote access as something different, especially when it comes to the court, but I can tell you that for the most part, the WebEx and telephone, whether they're meetings or court hearings, they seem to be coming through pretty well for the most part of it. Obviously, they have to be a little more techie savvy than I was just earlier, but certainly it's a benefit to everybody. There are options, not on everything, but there are some options that people can request to either appear via WebEx or telephone. The courtrooms do have remote hearings. They also have in-person hearings, and that's for both district and county court. However, if a person is scheduled to appear out at the Boulder County Jail, then they have to appear in person. I wanted to make sure and include the address for the jail, because it amazes me how many people are scheduled to be there and then they come to the courthouse and then they find themselves struggling to try to make it there on time. However, if this does happen, you just have to talk to somebody at the front counter, and we will happily communicate to the judge that's holding the hearing out at the jail, let them know that you're on their way. The virtual courtrooms go hand in hand. I wanted to make sure that people were provided the information on if you're happen to have a hearing and you want to appear virtually, coordinate that with the division that you're in, because they're going to send you a link. There's also the information's also posted on our website, and it's on our main web page. So you'd have to go to the court website and then click on the courts by county and then select Boulder. And when you get to our Boulder webpage, you're going to see what you see displayed on the screen. And there are links to either the virtual courtroom information, and to the right, I put Judge Archuleta's example of his courtroom and how to access his virtual courtroom should you have a hearing there, whether you're a defendant or whether you know somebody that's appearing and you want to listen in. This is a good way to kind of see what's happening within the courts. And if you hear my voice trembling, the room that we're in, Danielle and I, is very, very cold. So I should have brought my sweater. That was bad planning on my part. The next screen you're going to see here is information on our website that for people that can do either payments online, or the information where you can mail in your payment. If you want to set up a payment plan, your best bet is to probably call the main line and then get transferred to a collections investigator, to kind of work out a payment plan for you. And I am going to let our civil expert talk about the civil matters.
Hello, everyone. I am going to talk about, our new process for forcible entry and detainer evictions. We are still...
And Danielle, you're echoing again. I'm sorry. We can pause just a sec.
Is that better?
A little bit.
Hello, is that better?
Yes.
Okay. So with the new CDC guidelines that came out on September 4th, we have implemented a new admin order here at the courts that was issued last Wednesday and can be found out on our webpage in the court business resources under general. And that's all our admin orders are there. It is admin order 20-111 that explains the new process here at the court for evictions, and also includes our admin order 20-108, which was our original forcible entry and detainer admin order. But basically, we are asking everyone filing for an FED to come in the Wednesday before the Friday court date that they would like, so about 10 days in advance, to file their paperwork. There is a limit of 50 FEDs per week. 10 of them are for pro se parties, 40 are reserved for our attorney filers. We are setting our FED cases at 8:30 for pro se and 9 a.m. for our attorneys. And we also do here require mediation to be done on the day of our FED docket. So there will be mediators available outside of the courtroom that the judge will dismiss everybody to go and see after the initial roll call. With the new CDC order that came out, we are requiring the filing party to provide that information to the tenants when serving their complaints out to them. So they are aware of the order and the form that they will need to complete if they feel they meet the qualifications on the declaration that the CDC put out. And once that happens, the case may be dismissed if everything in the landlord feels it's in order, or they may go to a hearing for the judge to decide if everything is in order and all information has been lined out. That's kind of what we have going on for FEDs right now. Were there any questions about that?
I might actually just ask
Okay.
a little bit, go into a little more detail
So
on what the CDC order is.
I think our next slide is on criminal matters, if I remember correctly. Can you go to the next slide, please? There we go.
So our county civil name changes have gone through a little upgrade recently for COVID and going on to continue that way, where if a person comes in to file an adult name change, we are asking that all paperwork be brought in at the initial filing, and we will then be putting it all on. And if the judge does not feel a need for a hearing, one will not be set up. So that's a little slight change from our old method of when you came in, we set you for a hearing on a Friday at 10 a.m. There no longer will that happen. You can just file and will be set for a hearing if the judge feels that one is warranted in the future. For the minor name changes, if both parties, both parents of the minor are agreeing and signing off on the petition, that will also go directly to the judge for a ruling on. It's only when one parent is asking and we do not have the notice given to the other parent and consent from the non-parenting party that we will be sending those for hearing about 6 to 10 weeks out, depending upon the situation that needs to take place. In case a posting might need to be done in the paper, those hearings we usually try to set out about 10 weeks so everything can be complied with in the statutes. For small claims, some of this information has changed up just a little bit, but the initial setting when you come in and file a new small claims case will be for a mediation that will be done by WebEx or phone. And then we will be setting that case 15 days from the mediation date for a review to see that if the case didn't settle, notice for trial to be set has been sent in and the answer has been filed by the defendant.
Okay, now I wanted to provide a little bit of
Mari, you're on mute.
Thank you. I forget that little button, but I wanted to provide some information on some of the criminal matters, mostly the first appearance center, because it's where we get more of the in-person hearings where people appear most of the time. And one of the biggest questions that I keep getting is for these traffic matters, if the option to appear via WebEx or telephone are available, and they are not. Unfortunately, the vast majority of the people that have to appear for these matters have to appear in person. The traffic court is held on Monday through Thursday, every morning in Boulder, and then Wednesday afternoon and Friday mornings in Longmont. Should anybody have a concern where they're not feeling well, they just need to notify the court in advance so that we can push that court date out for them and at least give them a little bit of time for them to start feeling a little better. The other thing that I can tell you is that the DA's office graciously has been reaching out to some folks that might have traffic matters that may be resolved in over telephone or via WebEx, and a lot of that has been going on because of the COVID restrictions. So a lot of times you might hear us tell you that if your case has been continued more than twice, that you may want to reach out to the DA's office to kind of have that that conversation with them. You know, it's not mandatory that you speak to them, obviously, but it's definitely an option that you can kind of seek out to see whether or not there's a plea bargain or resolution to the case that can be done virtually versus a person appearing in the first appearance center. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the walk-in warrant process. This is a process that we had put in place last year and is working really well. Any person that has an active warrant out there, they can come in and get that taken care of or be added to a docket. Due to the COVID restrictions, what we've been doing now, because affidavit warrants are not, they don't qualify for this walk-in warrant process, we're temporarily taking certain types of cases and allowing people to post bond on affidavit warrants at our front counter. What I would encourage people to do is, if you know of anybody or that is in such a situation that they need this type of information, that you just refer them to our main phone line here at the court, so that they can ask some of those questions on whether or not their case does qualify for either of those programs.
And I did see we had a participant raise their hand.
Okay, what is the question?
If they can unmute themselves. I believe I saw it was Christine Armstrong. If you can unmute yourself and ask your question. And if you're asking your question, I apologize, I cannot hear you.
Fred, I think we need to allow them to talk. I'm sorry, the name again was?
Armstrong was who I saw raise their hand.
Trying to allow them to talk. Doesn't seem, it may not be working. If you do have a question, if you wouldn't mind utilizing the chat, that would be excellent. My apologies for the video, audio problem.
And Brenda, I think we only have one more slide, so if you want to put
Oh,
that for the people.
sure. And then hopefully they'll
Yeah.
give them a chance to type their question.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, I just wanted to make sure to again display our contact information for both courthouse locations. Again, if people have any type of question, I really encourage them to just reach out to us. We have somebody that on that main number that answers from 8 to 5. And if they can't answer your question, typically they will transfer your call to one of the supervisors, whether that's Danielle or Megan that's in criminal, or Toby that does research in front counter. Either one of us would be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. The other thing that I just want to mention is that if you do call us, it's you're going to run into having to leave us a message a lot of times, because either one, we're in meetings, or two, we're assisting other people. But we're always very diligent about returning phone calls and ensuring that people have the information that they absolutely need. So again, I wanted to thank everybody, but I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody might have, or clarify anything that we put up on the PowerPoint.
So if participants can type their questions into the Q&A, that would be the best way to do this. Well, I know I had kind of a follow-up question on, I'm not sure everyone listening is as aware of the news on evictions, but can you talk about whether or not our courts have been seeing an increase in eviction filings or not? And Mari, you're on mute again.
So I have to say that our dockets have not really seen an influx right now with evictions. Last week's docket was maybe one of our largest, and it was about 21 cases. And out of those 21 cases, I feel the majority of them were either continued out for the new CDC guidelines to be complied with, or continued out till the end of the year into January. CDC moratorium right now. So roughly our dockets are anywhere from right now 2 to, I would say, 20 being our largest. And before COVID, our dockets sometimes would be 40 to 60 cases.
Thank you. That's great to know. What about, so could you give a little more detail about what the CDC order is, just for people who may not have been obsessively following this like you and I?
So the CDC put out, I want to say it was probably like a 30-page order. It's very broad in general in the guideline, so there could be interpretation either way. But basically what they're saying is that if the tenants read through the declaration and sign the declaration saying that they have complied with, there's about 6 bullet points, I believe, in that declaration, then the eviction should be put on pause for right now. They are still supposed to be trying to make partial payments, reaching out to the government for assistance, things like that, to try to keep on track with their rent. Now, of course, if there is a violation, there being a nuisance, things like that, they may still be evicted because this has a lot to do with the non-payment of rent and not if you have criminal activity going on or other things that may be causing destruction to the property. There are also heavy fines put into place for organizations or landlords that go through with evictions, and if the party did meet the declaration, there are some hefty fines, like $100,000 up to $500,000, depending upon if there is death involved in the case.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Any other questions from the peanut gallery? Oh, where can the CDC directive be viewed? Got a great question.
So if you are able to go to our Boulder County Court website and then get into our new admin order 20-111, we do have both the link to the order and also the link to the declaration for the tenants.
Fantastic. And I think just to make that easier, I will go ahead and try to pull that up real quick. This is the court's website, and to get to the admin orders, where would I click?
You need to go to where it says Court Business Resources.
Okay, so right here for anyone watching.
and then go to General Court Information.
Right here at the top. And administrative orders.
Yep, and if you scroll down to the bottom, it should be the last administrative order, I believe, that was signed last week.
So the most recent ones are at the bottom, the latest information. And here it is. And in this in and of itself, there are links to the CDC order right here and a sample declaration form. So that is fantastic that our courts make that so easy to access. Well, one final question for both of you, I guess, is what can people of the public do to make the best use of our courts right now, to make it go as smoothly as they can and help in the administration of justice?
I think from my perspective, I think one of the things that, you know, if they want to come in and, you know, either file anything, the best thing to do is if they have any questions regarding documents that they're going to file or any processes they're going to be dealing with is, you know, just to give us a call. I think that we can answer most of people's questions over the phone. That way, when people are coming into the building, they're prepared just to come in and file. Or if they're here for a hearing, obviously, then we can certainly direct them in, you know, to the right courtroom if that's where they need to be. But for the majority of the people that actually come into the court and are filing or starting a process, mostly it's civil matters, but I think the best thing that they can do is go to the website, you know, read the instructions that are provided. If they have questions, reach out to us. We're happy to answer the questions so that when people are having to come in and file, that at least they're coming in with everything that's already prepared and they're not spending as much time in the building itself. Did you have anything to add?
Well, thank you both so much. You know, this is such a rare opportunity to get an insider's look at how these systems that serve so many people in our community work. It's so great to hear about the ways that access is being preserved.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to, you know, allow us to share some of this information to people, so that they, you know, so that if they do have the need to come into the building, then at least they feel safe because we are taking the precautionary measures to ensure that people are getting their businesses done and then coming in and feeling safe about the environment.
Well, fantastic. I will go ahead and do one final screen share to thank our sponsors once more. We could not do this without our sponsors. In adjusting to a new world, as we all are, both at the courts and in all of our businesses. We are grateful for the support, and thank you to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And for our attendees, keep in mind we still have the remainder of this month. Next up, we have guardianships and conservatorships with Brandon Fields. Coming up on next Tuesday, a week from today, is also going to be a really good one. It is Ann Jorgensen of Jorgensen, Brownell, and Pepin speaking about fiduciaries' roles and responsibilities. She's been giving this talk for a number of years, and I think it's only becoming more and more important as we may have be called into our roles as fiduciaries for family members who are seeing some new challenges based on healthcare issues. So we are really, really excited, and thank you Thank you to everyone. We hope you have a good rest of your day, and hopefully you'll be joining us for our other talks.